Okay, get this. Studies have shown that hospital patients with rooms overlooking a garden recover faster than those staring at a brick wall.
Huh.
Crazy, right? I mean, just imagine.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
So today, we're going deep into biophilic design. And I've got a stack of your articles and research here. It seems like you're pretty familiar with the basics, beyond just like plants are nice and all that.
Right, right.
So we're going to go a little deeper today. We're going to uncover some really fascinating insights about how bringing nature indoors can actually transform your life. What do you think?
I'm excited.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's important to emphasize that it's not just about aesthetics. It really is about uh, biophilic design is rooted in this idea that we as humans have a biological need for connection with nature.
Yeah.
It's like we're hardwired to thrive in these natural settings,
Totally.
but we've built these concrete jungles that kind of miss the mark.
Yeah, and it's true. I was reading a study that found office workers with even like a small view of nature, like a window looking out on some trees or something, they reported significantly less stress.
Mhm.
So it makes a difference.
It does.
But isn't it kind of counterintuitive? Like we evolved to be outdoors, right?
Yeah.
But now being inside is what stresses us out because we need the outdoors. It's kind of a mind bender.
Absolutely. We're trying to override millions of years of evolution,
Yeah.
and our bodies and minds are sending us pretty clear signals that something's off.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that in the rising rates of stress, anxiety,
Oh, yeah.
even attention disorders, things like that.
Mm.
Biophilic design is really a way to address this fundamental mismatch.
Okay, so let's talk solutions. You mentioned plants, and I know they're popular, but do a few houseplants actually make a difference? Because I've managed to kill a cactus, so I'm a little skeptical.
Well, think about it this way. NASA, right, they did this study on air purification. And what they found is certain plants can remove up to like 87% of air toxins in just 24 hours.
What?
So that's not just nice, it's impacting your health.
That's true.
And there's research out of Norway suggesting that, even just looking at plants, that visual exposure reduces stress. It lowers your heart rate, blood pressure.
Interesting. Okay. 87%. I'm writing that down. That's pretty impressive. Now, my sources also mentioned green walls. I've seen pictures. They're gorgeous. But are they more than just a pretty design trend?
Much more. Green walls, they're essentially vertical gardens.
Oh, right.
And studies have shown that they can dramatically improve indoor air quality, even in large buildings.
Great.
There was one study that found that a green wall in a hospital waiting area actually reduced perceived wait times just by creating a calming environment.
That's amazing. So it's not just about what we see, it's about how being around nature actually changes how our brains and bodies function. That's incredible. What about natural light? I feel like everyone always says it's important, but why? Isn't it just about making a room brighter?
It's way deeper than that. Our circadian rhythms, the one that control our sleep-wake cycles,
Yeah.
they're directly influenced by natural light exposure.
Correct.
Think about it. We evolved with sunrise and sunset.
Yeah.
Artificial light disrupts all of that, and that impacts everything from how well you sleep
Yeah.
to your hormone production.
Wait, so you're telling me my bad sleep could be because of my light bulbs? I thought it was just Netflix. Okay, so let's say I want more natural light. What can I do? My apartment isn't exactly flooded with sunshine.
Well, one surprisingly effective technique is using reflective surfaces.
Oh, okay.
Like strategically placing mirrors,
Yeah.
or even using high gloss paint. You could bounce sunlight deeper into a room.
Yeah.
And even small changes like swapping heavy drapes for sheer curtains can make a difference.
Okay, I'm taking notes here. Mirrors, got it. Sheer curtains, check. This is starting to feel doable. Even for someone who's, shall we say, decoratively challenged, we've only kind of scratched the surface here, right? There's more to this biophilic design thing than just plants and light.
Absolutely. We haven't even touched on the power of natural materials, biomimicry,
Ooh.
or even how different cultures approach biophilic design.
Okay, you officially hooked me. Let's keep going.
It's so interesting how we crave these natural elements, like without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Our ancestors lived in nature. I mean, it was their everything. It was food, it was shelter, you name it.
That's true.
So it makes sense that we're still wired to respond to it.
It's almost like our modern lives are fighting against our own biology. Speaking of which, my notes mention something called biomimicry. It sounds super sci-fi. What is it exactly?
Well, it's actually more common than you think.
Oh, okay.
Basically, biomimicry is taking inspiration from nature to solve design problems. A classic example is Velcro. It was inspired by those little burrs that stick to your clothes.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's pretty cool. I'm guessing it gets a little more complex than Velcro, though.
Absolutely. One of my favorite examples is the Eastgate Center in Zimbabwe.
Hmm?
It's this large office and shopping complex. And it was designed to mimic the natural ventilation system of a termite mound. And the result, it uses 90% less energy for climate control than a conventional building of the same size.
90%.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not just talking about making buildings look like nature. We're actually talking about learning from nature's efficiency. I like that. My notes also mention cultural influences on biophilic design. Is that just about aesthetics, or is there more to it?
Oh, there's definitely a deeper layer.
Okay.
Different cultures have unique ways of connecting with nature, and that's reflected in their design. Take, for example, Japanese architecture.
Right.
It often features a really seamless transition between indoor and outdoor spaces, almost blurring the lines.
Yeah. I've always admired the simplicity and tranquility of Japanese gardens, for instance. I can see how those design principles would translate really well to indoor spaces. What about other cultures? Any standout examples?
Scandinavian design is another great one.
Okay.
They really emphasize natural light, organic materials, and a sense of hygge, which basically means creating a cozy and welcoming atmosphere.
Okay.
Think warm wood tones, natural textures, lots of candles.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about creating that sense of comfort and well-being.
Okay, I'm definitely feeling the hygge vibes right now. Sounds like the perfect antidote to those cold, dark winters they have up there. So let's say I'm ready to give this biophilic design thing a try in my own home. Where do I even begin? Do I need to hire a fancy designer, rip out all my drywall, start from scratch?
Not at all. You can start small.
Okay, good.
One of the easiest things is just bringing more plants. Choose varieties that you actually like. Remember, even a single plant can have a positive impact.
Easy enough. I've got a sunny windowsill that's been begging for a new resident. What else?
Think about your senses.
Okay.
Can you introduce natural scents? Maybe through essential oils or even fresh flowers. Maybe swap out some of those artificial sounds with a nature soundtrack or even a small water feature.
You know, I actually love the sound of running water. I've been meaning to get one of those little tabletop fountains. Is there anything I should avoid? Like, are there common biophilic design faux pas?
Yeah, one mistake is going overboard and trying to cram in too many elements.
Okay.
It can end up feeling cluttered and chaotic, which defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember, biophilic design is about balance and harmony.
So more isn't always better. Quality over quantity. Got it. Anything else?
Don't forget about maintenance.
Right.
Plants need care. Water features need to be cleaned. Choose elements that actually fit your lifestyle so you can enjoy the benefits without being overwhelmed.
That's good advice. This is all really helpful. I'm feeling a lot more confident about incorporating some of these ideas, but let's be real. Does biophilic design actually make a tangible difference, or is this just a trendy way to make our homes look prettier?
The research is pretty compelling. Studies have shown that exposure to nature, even indoors, can reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, improve sleep quality, even boost creativity and focus.
Hold on. You're saying my living room could actually be impacting my blood pressure? I'm officially intrigued. Are there any downsides to biophilic design?
Well, some people with severe allergies might need to be careful about certain plants or materials.
Okay.
And of course, biophilic design can sometimes be more expensive than conventional options.
Right. Makes sense. It's always good to be aware of potential downsides. But overall, it seems like the potential benefits are pretty impressive. Is there anything else you think our listeners should know before we wrap up this part of the dive?
Well, one thing we haven't really talked about is this idea of bringing the outdoors in.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah, I'm talking about, things like indoor gardens, edible walls.
Oh, wow.
Even integrating natural elements like water features right into your living spaces.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, imagine having fresh herbs growing right there in your kitchen or the sound of a little waterfall in your living room.
I've always wanted to try growing my own herbs, but my kitchen isn't exactly the Garden of Eden.
Right.
So is it really possible to create something like that indoors?
Absolutely. There are so many innovative systems available now, like hydroponic setups to self-watering planters that make it way easier than ever to grow plants indoors, even if you don't have a ton of space.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. But what about the mess? I'm picturing dirt everywhere, maybe some bugs.
Yeah.
It seems like a recipe for disaster.
Well, that's where good design comes in.
Okay.
There are definitely ways to integrate these elements in a clean and contained way, even aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
Think about vertical gardens with built-in irrigation systems or sleek, modern planters that don't clash with your decor. It's all about finding solutions that actually fit your lifestyle and your aesthetic.
You've officially got me curious here. I'm starting to see the possibilities. But let's shift gears for a second. My notes also mention the use of biophilic design in public spaces. Is that a thing?
It is. It's actually a growing trend. Cities all over the world are incorporating these biophilic design principles into all kinds of spaces like parks, plazas, hospitals, even schools.
That makes sense. I've definitely felt the difference between, walking through a lush park versus a concrete wasteland.
Yeah.
But how do you even begin to apply these principles on such a large scale?
Well, it starts with understanding, the specific needs of the space and the people using it.
Right.
For instance, a hospital might focus on creating those calming gardens and green spaces, right, to promote healing and reduce stress,
Yeah, I can see that.
for patients.
Definitely.
What about school? How does biophilic design work there?
I'm curious.
Well, there's actually research suggesting that classrooms with lots of natural light and views of nature actually improve student concentration and academic performance.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, some schools are even incorporating outdoor classrooms and those nature-based play areas.
That's really cool. So it seems like there's a real opportunity to use biophilic design to not just improve, how a space looks, but to really enhance people's well-being and even their productivity.
Exactly. And it's not just about, these grand gestures.
Yeah.
Sometimes the smallest touches can make the biggest difference.
Like what?
Well, think about adding a few plants to a waiting room or using artwork that features nature in a hospital corridor.
Right.
It can really impact people's mood and stress levels.
It's all about creating a more human-centered environment.
Exactly. And recognizing that we are part of nature, not separate from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we design spaces that reflect that connection, we create environments where people can thrive.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I'm feeling inspired to rethink my own space,
Yeah.
even to advocate for more biophilic design in my own community.
That's great.
So as we wrap up, what's one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would say pay attention to how you feel in different spaces. Do you feel more relaxed in a room with natural light and plants? More energized after a walk in the park? Those are your instincts telling you what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And biophilic design just gives you the tools to bring those elements into your everyday life.
That's such a good point. It's all about tuning into that innate connection we have with nature. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but this feels like just the start of the conversation.
It is, yeah.
There's so much more to explore in the world of biophilic design.
Absolutely. And I think the more we learn, the more we realize just how powerful that connection with nature really is.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed exploring the amazing world of biophilic design. Until next time, keep those nature vibes flowing.